What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, we've been covering the Trump trial a lot because there's nothing there, folks. We've seen that outright. They've been filling the jury's head full of Trump did this and Trump did that. And yes, none of this is illegal. So why are they filling up the jurors' heads with all this stuff that Trump done? We don't know why. We think they're just trying to overload their brains with Trump's guilty of this, Trump's guilty of this, Trump's guilty of this. He paid a porn star to shut her up. Why would he pay a porn star to shut her up when she signed an NDA? He could just sue her into oblivion. Wait, as a matter of fact, he did. She still owes him money for that, by the way. But we've had finally some, I guess you could call it substantive testimony from Michael Cohen that he's outright admitting that he committed the crime that they're supposedly supposing here. But, you know, we had a big showing today. We're going to step back. We had a big showing today. We had Mike Johnson show up, Byron Donalds, Corey Mills, and Vivek Ramaswamy showed up.
This is a politicized persecution that is nakedly apparent. What I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into what we actually learned today in that courtroom. What do we see in there? First of all, I learned a lot from being in there in person. It is one of the most depressing places I have been in my life, but it is fitting because the only thing more depressing than the environment of that courtroom is what's actually happening in there. It's straight out of a Kafka novel. The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission. And if you look in that direction, sadly, it may appear to actually be working. Now, I would like for anybody here in the press, anybody at home, anybody in MSNBC or the media afterwards, to clearly state what exactly is the crime that Donald Trump committed. Oh, wait, we have not heard a good answer to that question. It has been vague until today. You heard Michael Cohen's testimony, after which I would say it is less clear than ever what that crime actually was. They'll say falsifying business records. Well, let's look at who did we learn falsified business records today? Get what, hour, 2 hours, felt like it could have been 7 hours of Michael Cohen talking about how he falsified business records. Okay, so you have a guy who has been a perjurer in the past that is now saying he falsified business records. What is the crime that Donald Trump committed? Now, it appears to be what they might allege is some sort of bookkeeping error or whatever.
That is what is at the heart of this trial, by the way. You know, Michael Cohen falsified business records on behalf of Donald Trump. So, hang on, you're charging Donald Trump with falsifying the business records. Are you saying that Michael Cohen is not also guilty of falsifying business records for Donald Trump? Does he not have to stand trial as well? Because he was a co-conspirator in this, right? But let's break this down because this is something that I haven't heard any pundits actually talk about. You know, if you guys have, let me know down in the comments. But hopefully I can take credit for this line of thought. You know, I'm just an idiot, so you know, anytime I can do something that seems smart, I'm going to go ahead and jump on that, if you will. But, you know, that's one thing. Okay, so we've got all this testimony, the Stormy Daniels, you know, you got David Pecker with the catch and kill schemes, right? Like, oh, wait, that's not a crime. So what are we building up to? Stormy Daniels comes in. Oh, well, he was so big and he was overpowering me and all this other stuff. Like, okay, so that is not a crime either. So where are we going with this exactly? I think like I was saying earlier, I think they're just trying to dilute the jury, you know, call it putting them to sleep, if you will, dilute the jury that Trump is guilty of all this. You know, the testimony from Stormy Daniels should justify a mistrial outright. Any other trial, it probably would. But let's keep going with this line of thought, and I'll get to my smart moment, if you will. Okay, so we've got all this stuff. So we learned none of this is illegal, by the way. Just to put that out on the table. I know I've said that before, so none of this is illegal. The quote-unquote illegal part was the falsifying of business records, and then to elevate that to the felony, it was election interference. But hang on. So once again, okay, let's just say they did, you know, Trump was, I guess, falsify the business records. Okay, now hang on. Why? if none of this stuff is illegal, none of the catch and kill stuff, the NDA, the paying of Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, none of this stuff is illegal, why would you go out of your way to commit an illegal act to cover up something that, by the way, was already out in the press? But why would you go out of the way to falsify some business records to quote-unquote cover up something that wasn't even illegal? Can anybody answer that question? Why would they intentionally falsify business records to cover up something that's not illegal, that the public already knew about? Yeah, nobody can seem to answer this. Like I said, I haven't heard anybody come up with that supposition yet as to why they would do that. Why would they take that line of thought, just intentionally commit a crime to cover up something that is not a crime, right? Like most of the time when you falsify some business records or something like that, you're trying to hide something. You're trying to hide this from the public, right? Well, none of this was hidden from the public, right? We learned through a lot of this testimony that a lot of these payments came after Donald Trump got into the White House. So hang on. Well, I thought he was trying to interfere in the election. Well, hang on. If he made these payments after he became president, how the hell could he interfere in the election? None of this makes absolutely any sense. It is very surprising to me that this trial is still going on, right? Like everybody. You've got people from CNN, for God's sakes, talking about this is BS. There's nothing here.
Here's what makes Michael Cohen so unusual, so unique. I've never seen a witness with bigger credibility problems than Michael Cohen. I've definitely seen witnesses. I've definitely used witnesses who've done way worse things than Michael Cohen. But I've never seen a witness who's lied to Congress, who's lied in court, who's lied to the IRS, who's lied to the Southern District of New York, who lied to his banker. The entire prosecution witness team has been lied to.
But let's continue for a second, because Vivek had a whole hell of a lot more to say. Check this out, Joe.
The real bookkeeping that we need accounting of is Judge Merchan's own family member collecting millions of dollars as a Democratic operative, using the existence of this trial as a fundraising ploy for Democrats. This is unconscionable. Imagine if the same shoe fit the other foot. Imagine if it was Joe Biden that was on trial. You had a Republican judge whose son was collecting millions of dollars as a Republican operative. What would you all be saying? This would not be justice. This is injustice at its worst. So let's go even a layer deeper, right? Because let's go even a layer deeper, actually. The alleged crime here is supposedly, they try to point to this every day, that he does not actually use campaign funds, that he used personal funds. Well, let's get this straight. Suppose Donald Trump had used campaign funds to make a personal expense. They'd be going after him for that. So if they're going to get him going or they're going to get him coming, that is the best proof that this is a politicized sham. Let's go through it piece by piece. If you tell somebody to go buy you a suit and you want to look good on television because that'll affect the voters, the way voters vote for you, you know what? They prosecute politicians if they use campaign funds to buy a suit. If they say, go get a haircut, if you use campaign funds to get a haircut because you want to look good to the voters, they will actually prosecute you for using campaign funds for a personal expense. Yet the entire legal theory of this case, the whole case that Alvin Bragg has brought, depends on one premise for them to charge this as a felony, is that Donald Trump somehow should have used campaign funds to make an allegedly personal payment. Yet if he had done that, their case against him would be even stronger. This is garbage. That is the best proof that you have that if they're going to get him going or get him coming, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So that's very interesting right there. Like, supposedly, because of election interference, he was supposedly had made these payments with campaign funds. But did he? No, he didn't. Obviously, he didn't. And by the way, even still falsifying of business records, I would think that paying hush money to somebody, if you get your lawyer to take care of that, that is a legal expense. Wouldn't you think? So he didn't falsify business records. Like anybody out there that's a lawyer, let me know. I mean, if you go through your lawyer to make a hush money payment, wouldn't that legally be a legal fee? I mean, come on now. I mean, like I said, I'm not the smartest person alive, by far. I'm just a regular, average, everyday freaking idiot here, right? Like, sometimes I can't even freaking talk, okay? I was just stumbling trying to get through that. But even still, getting everything else out of the way, wouldn't that still be a legal fee? Couldn't you, if you did that through your lawyer, wouldn't that be a legal fee? But we've got so many holes in the prosecutor's case here that it doesn't make any sense why this is still going, why this judge is clearly partisan, right? Like you heard Vivek Ramaswamy. I've said it before on this thing. The judge's daughter is campaigning off the back of his dad's trial, the trial that he's supposed to be fair and impartial. Like this blows my mind that nobody from the state, no ethics panel, nobody from Congress, from the state's, legislature or whatever, nobody anywhere, the AG, nobody has freaking said anything. We've had crickets on this as to the clear ethics violations going on with this, the unconstitutional gag orders, the outright ridiculousness of this whole trial in the first place, right? Like, you just logically work through these things. Like I said, they're showing all these things that Trump did, the NDAs, the hush money payments, the catch and kill schemes. None of it's illegal. So, once again, the question remains, why would he falsify business records on purpose to cover up something that's not a crime? That, to me, is the absolute shot in the heart, the lethal blow, if you will, to this case. Why would they falsify business records to cover up something that's not a crime? Makes absolutely no sense. Nobody has mentioned that as far as I know. Let me know down in the comments if somebody else has came up with that theory, because I haven't heard it. But we've heard all kinds of theories about what's going on here and blah, 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 blah. Pundits have been talking about, oh, this is just a sham, but they don't really say why. I want to get to the root of this. So far, all we've heard is that Michael Cohen falsified business records. But once again, like I said, for what reason? There was no reason to falsify the business records. None of this crap was illegal. And how are they interfering with the election again? Please, somebody tell me that. This thing is, if it does not show the absolute hilarity and all the other Trump prosecutions that have fallen apart, if you will, that they're just absolutely going nowhere with those. And this one was supposed to be, I don't know, I guess it was supposed to be the one that actually gets Donald Trump, right? Oh, the walls have been closing in for 10 freaking years now. Not 10 years, but, I was being hyperbolic. What? 7 years. The walls are closing in on Donald Trump. That was MSNBC every single freaking day for his entire presidency. The walls are closing in. We're going to get Trump. We're finally going to get Trump. These people campaigned on going after Trump. None of them have been able to make any criminal prosecutions stick. The only one that actually got to stick, you had to have a very partisan AG and a very partisan judge to look the other way with the facts to get him to drain his freaking bank account. And what really blew my mind on the Letitia James case, okay, after he made him pay all this money, right, and then we figure out, oh, well, you can't get a bond for $554 million. Okay, we'll make it 70 million? Sorry if I get that wrong. I think it was 270. So they actually get a bond for $270 million. And then Letitia James, what does she do? She tries to say, oh, well, we can't guarantee they can insure that much money. We don't think it's legitimate. Huh? You ask for a ridiculous amount of restitution to pay, where there was no crime there either. There was nothing done wrong. That's outright BS, but Trump went right along with it, I guess, because, I've heard a lot of people say that Trump shouldn't even pay attention to this. He should have stayed in Mar-a-Lago and said, screw y'all. I'm not complying with this BS because there's no statutory basis for charging him with anything on any of these, right? Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, and, you know, when they said it, I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. Why would you comply? Like Tim Pool said, you know, if a circus clown shows up to your door one day, holds up a piece of paper and says, I have a warrant for your arrest. You need to come with me, sir. Are you going to be like, okay, and just go with that person? No, of course not. You're not going to do that at all. You're going to laugh, say, get off my damn property, slam the door and call the cops. That's what you're going to do. So why should Trump comply with any of this BS when there's no statutory basis to criminally prosecute him because there was no laws broken, right? Well, Trump he's constantly talking about law and order. We are the party of law and order, if you will. So, yeah, of course, from everybody on the left, he's trying to prove to them just how insane these people are by complying with this, going through the process, and then making them look absolutely ridiculous when we can't find the crime. There was no crime here. Absolutely no crime. So this is all just BS, if you will. It's mocking the criminal justice system, if you will. It's laughing in its face. It's an outright abuse of the criminal justice system. These people should be thrown in jail for this. You know, Alvin Bragg and Letitia James, but that's never going to happen because, you know, that the judge was partisan. Judge Merchant is partisan. This guy, you know, I'm still surprised. It still blows my mind. I'm going to say it once again. How come nobody in New York has stood up and filed an ethics complaint about this? Just exactly how much BS this whole trial is. Nobody thinks they should file some ethics complaint. I mean, they done it in Georgia for Fannie Willis, for God's sakes, and look what happened to that case. Yeah, that case has gone down the drain fast. So has the documents case. And the January 6th case. That's all going down the freaking drain. Jack Smith, all of it. It's all BS. Once again, I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Do y'all think that there's anything here? I mean, can you explain, you know, that, yeah, Trump is guilty of falsifying business records and not Michael Cohen? And can you give me a reason as to why they would falsify the business records to cover up something that's not a crime? Let me know down in the comments. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. And stay legitical. Peace.